The moment you begin to see people from that perspective, it's easy to attract people because that's the foundation of leadership: people and results. Without people, it's hard to be able to translate to results. You can know if someone would end up miserable from their daily lifestyle now. So it's a law of cause and effect. So for you to be able to, you can create a plan that requires certain discipline to achieve. To build any thriving institution, to build a great nation, and to build a business empire. Many of us would know this naturally, that it comes down to leadership. Without someone that is able to see what it would look like, someone that can conceive an idea and can translate it into a roadmap that can be executed on a timely basis, and someone that believes in people to deliver. We realize that it's hard, right? It's very hard to be able to humanize that kind of person. Mostly these days, where the first thing you think of first is how to survive. Especially you see yourself in a very chaotic ecosystem where your tomorrow is not really defined, and that's because the economy is not stable. So the first thing first that comes to mind to almost every Nigerian or everyone is, how do I survive? And that leadership mentality is not present, and is a very big problem because it's a gap that must be filled. So what am I driving at? You need leadership to achieve anything successful, because success is tied down to a purpose, is tied down to a vision. And to achieve that, these are very unconventional truths I have been able to observe over the years. I have come to realize that I'll talk about three major things, right? I'll talk about the first thing is love. You will be surprised. Discipline and system. To lead people, you must first be able to lead yourself. And the first approach to self-leadership is self-awareness and realization about what you have as a person. And the moment you are able to have an idea of who you are and what kind of value do you have, it becomes a tool for you to be able to start to approach life in a very different way. And I'm saying this so you can be able to understand why it is important to, first of all, solve the problem of self-leadership. An average person is lost, right? An average person, is still struggling to understand who he is, still not submitted to a system. An average person wants to live one day at a time, and that's very problematic, right? Love is the basis of all things, and I'm saying this so that you can be able to understand why it is very important to look at love from a very different perspective. The Bible says that love thy neighbor as thyself. For you to love yourself, you must first of all know what you appreciate the most about yourself. The moment you are able to have that understanding, it's easy. You begin to attract people like you, and you begin to see the quality that people have that you can blend in. So you need love as the basis of all things. If you don't love people, I mean, if you don't love them, if you don't care for them, if you don't show interest in who they are, and what they want to be, it's difficult to lead them. Remember, I said for you to love someone else, you first of all must love yourself. For you to love yourself, you must have been able to develop some sort of self-awareness, and you understand what you have, you understand your limitation, you understand your skills. That alone helps you to be able to embrace people for who they are. So it's just enlightenment, right? So the moment you begin to see people from that perspective, it's easy to attract people, because that's the foundation of leadership. People and results. Without people, it's hard to be able to translate to results. So first of all, get love in its right perspective, and you begin to attract people. Then the other one is discipline. Like I said, an average person wants to live just the way they want to live. They are not subjected to a principle. I remember myself as at that time, I had a system that I had to submit myself to, because I know that for me to achieve certain outcome, I can't live the way I live on daily basis. So I need to be able to create a plan, right? A principle, a structure that I can fit in, and becoming so resolute to follow through. And that's very difficult for people to do, because people just live one day at a time. People are not submissive. Naturally, people are rebellious. If you understand the core of human nature, the natural person is rebellious in nature. And to deal with that, you must be able to appreciate order, because without order, there's chaos. And that's nature, right? Because before the earth was formed, it was chaotic. And to be able to bring order, or to bring creativity, there must be order, right? Creativity thrives in a system that brings order, right? And that alone helps you to understand that you have to be disciplined to be able to lead. In fact, you can't even be a leader if you can't be an expression of discipline. Look at every leader that you can see, every great leader you can have that has walked the earth today. They are an example of a particular life that they have lived on a daily basis. You see Mahatma Gandhi, you see the likes of Winston Churchill, you see the likes of Elon Musk, all of these people, they just don't live life to wander, right? Time is very expensive. So they are able to tame themselves. They subject themselves to a regiment of life. And naturally, people would resist that. People don't want to be boxed into a particular. So you can always know the end from the beginning, right? If you want to determine, what a person's end will look like, you can always know from what they are doing now. You can know if someone would end up miserable from their daily lifestyle now. So it's a law of cause and effect. So for you to be able to, you can create a plan that requires certain discipline to achieve. So again, discipline is very, very ultimate. Then discipline is an offshoot of a system. A life without a system lacks structure. A system is a set of, ideas, a set of rules, principles to determine an outcome. In a system, there is a projected outcome, right? And that is what a leader embodies. If you must be a great leader, you must be able to create a system. You must be able to, and being able to create a system stems from a mental picture. What is the future that you have pictured? Yes, once you are able to picture an end goal, a system has been bettered, and you are able to create again discipline that can now embrace the actions that are required to be able to achieve that. So please, without these three things, in my own perspective, leadership is very hard. When you have been able to embrace them, love. What do I mean by love? Loving yourself. Automatically you will love others. Discipline yourself. It becomes a way of life. A system is a picture of an end goal. Without it, there's no result. Every great business that you see today started with an idea, a picture of an end goal. I think if you look at that, you can build anything you want to build. So follow this principle and let's build great systems. See you again.